Welcome to On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Rubin. I am so excited to present this podcast series addressing our rapidly changing world and how it is affecting industries and people in unique and interesting ways. As John F. Kennedy once said, change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future. The business leaders and personalities who I will be interviewing in these podcasts certainly look to the future. And I hope you come away with information and inspiration that helps you adapt in both your business and personal lives. You can find these podcasts on all major platforms, including YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on our website, getsplatzer.com. Welcome to On the Mark. We have a show today dealing with something related to COVID and businesses. We have Amy Wasserman and Aaron Popowsky, who are the co-founders of the Unoriginal Bathroom Company. They've taken the bathroom and renovations of bathroom and try to make it easier for people to renovate their bathrooms. We're also going to be talking about changes in what people are looking for in bathrooms since the COVID period of time. Actually, I think Amy and Aaron are what I call a COVID romance, that they're husband and wife, and a lot of this project of the Unoriginal Bathroom Company came about while they were stuck at home because of COVID and needed to develop something. And I think that this company, from what I understand, is a result of that. Would that be accurate to say, Amy? Is that how this came about?
I would say so. A labor of love.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
so why don't you tell us a little bit about what the Unoriginal Bathroom Company does?
Sure. So the Unoriginal Bathroom Company exists as really an innovative way for people to shop for their next bathroom renovation. So what we do is we hire interior designers to create bathroom designs, which we then put on our website. We get photorealistic renderings of the design made, and that design is then available to purchase as a complete material package by homeowners across the country. So you see a picture of a bathroom you like, just like you would see one on Pinterest or on another platform. But instead of having to reverse engineer the design, we're able to send every single thing that you see in that photo, from tiles to toilets and lighting and mirrors, in a single shipment to your home, ready for your installer to put together. And we do that based off of a series of conversations where we gather measurements and information about what you as the customer want, and we take care of the entire procurement piece on their behalf.
Even down to the tiles too, right? All of the accents and the soft goods are included within that too.
So approximately from the time a client contacts you and they say they want to do this bathroom, and that they look on your site and they see a bathroom that they like, but they want to make changes. They want a different tile. Maybe they want a different type of toilet, a higher toilet, a lower toilet, a different type of sink. How does that work? Do you work with them to determine what are the fixtures they're going to get, what tiles they're going to get? Do they actually get to see a physical product, or is all this online that they're looking at?
So it depends on, customer by customer. Some people really just see what they want. They don't want to have to be making decisions. They understand that like one decision is sort of a Pandora's box of a million other decisions that come with it, which is what we try to avoid as a business. So really, like, decorative changes, we try to avoid, but functional changes, like, I'd really like a comfort height toilet instead of, a different height, or, I really need to maximize storage. What are some additional storage solutions? We'll work directly with the customer on that. We sometimes will go back and liaise with the designers to get their sort of input or insight on that. But the customer really only has to deal with us, and we work to find solutions to get them the bathroom that they desire.
Now, what happens if let's take tiles, for instance, floor tiles. Now, some floor tiles are slippery, some are glossy, some are less glossy. And if they haven't seen it in person, maybe when they see it in person, when it comes to them before the installation, they don't they don't like it. It doesn't. It's not what
Yeah.
they expected.
Yeah.
What happens then?
So we haven't run into that instance. We show everything on video call when we're speaking with them, so they get a really good sense of exactly what it looks like versus just seeing a photo of it or seeing the rendering of it. We're very clear about what it looks like, and we do have samples available specifically for tile that we're able to send to customers. Same with wallpaper, paint samples, if there's anything they want to take a closer look at. But really what our offering solves for is like keeping customers out of showrooms and keeping them from having to go to these places to look at these things in person. So we want to, be able to help them and support them with that decision and sort of final check mark as easily as possible.
We're also extremely descriptive as it relates to the tiles, explicitly stating if something is a matte finish, if it's more of a glossy finish. So this way, our clients or prospective clients will have a good idea of what they're getting themselves into from an aesthetic point of view.
And how do they get the contractor to actually do the installation? Do you provide recommendations for that? Is it on their own, or how does that work?
In some cases, clients would have their own contractors already, someone that they've identified or worked with in the past. Really, ultimately, it depends on the location. We do have some contractors that we are familiar with in different areas, generally within the Tri-State area, because that's where we're located. But as we expand, I would say that the main goal for us is to be able to put together a network of contractors that we are essentially that are our clients, that are serving their clients with our offering to simplify their lives.
So is your business primarily direct to consumer, or are you dealing with contractors and then the contractors present to their customers product? Is it a direct consumer business, or if it's both, and I think that there may be some of both, where do you see your business going?
I think we launched as a direct to consumer business, but our focus now, a year into, post launch, is to build those direct relationships with contractors, with really more of the conduits and the gatekeepers to the homeowner, build a relationship with them and work with them to find ways to really support them almost as an external agency, giving them access to our designs and our procurement capabilities and our network, our national network of warehousing 3PL that allows us to get a design, get a collection shipped anywhere in the country.
And why did you decide to do just bathrooms? Why not kitchens, and why not living rooms and other? It seems very specific that you just
so bathrooms are very formulaic. There's really like a set amount of components that exists within any bathroom. We also, my background is really exclusively in the startup space. So, I've seen companies, I don't want to say bite off more than they can chew, but really just trying to do a lot of different things and see what sticks. And I think for us, it was really important that we focused and we prove out a model and prove something out first before we expand into other areas. We are certainly, we have another business, a remodeling business, Outpost Interiors. We are an authorized dealer for a cabinetry company, a custom cabinetry company. We're sort of testing the waters with a lot of the concepts we've built for Unoriginal through cabinetry sales, when we think about then closets, mudrooms, office spaces, and kitchens. But for now, Unoriginal Bathroom Company is bathrooms, and we will see what that can evolve to as we nail down the formula with bathrooms.
And I just want to add to that, one of the things with bathrooms, outside of it being formulaic, there's also a lot of different design components that have an impact. Not to say that there's not in a kitchen, but it's different. It's a smaller space, so certain details will have bigger impacts as well. And it's usually an area from my experience for almost 2 decades as a general contractor, design build focused general contractor. It's all in the details, and a lot of people get lost in those details, especially if they don't have the right set of hands working with them, either helping with the design or just co-signing it and letting them know that they're making the right decision. A lot of folks get lost during that process, and it leads to delays, and or projects just don't even get started because people have such a challenge making that decision.
Now, the market that you're in, I mean, there are bathrooms that are done for $5,000. There are bathrooms that are done for hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the type of market. Are you more focused on the luxury high-end market, or are you also offering products to what I call the lower end or the simpler bathroom market?
Right now, we sit in sort of that mid-premium level. We're certainly not luxury. I think when people are in the luxury space, if they have a designer, they're using and paying for a designer and a full-service design build firm. We are not a budget service. This is, you're getting the convenience of our offering. You're being able to access a designer curated bathroom for less than what it would cost to hire a designer to curate that bathroom for you. But we're using, premium high-end materials, from the tile to the fixtures. These are nice brands that we're working with. They're not sort of no-name, nothing brands. So the quality is really going to be there in the final product as well. And our customer values that.
So a customer that might go into a Home Depot or a Lowe's or something like that, they offer basic kind of design services if someone wanted to redo their bathroom. You're offering something more than that, something that they couldn't get in a Lowe's if they wanted to go in there and use those services. What's the difference between what you're doing and what Lowe's can offer?
I mean, Lowe's is doing what they're doing. They're probably looking at like a volume play versus a sort of like quality play. I think they are also selling the products and sort of own the products in a way that they sell. And you're going to get, designs from the people who are working there, which is fine. And I think for a lot of people, like, that's good enough. They're looking for a bathroom that, looks better or functions better than what they currently have. For us, it's people who like see things online or in magazines and aspire to have that. But, let's say they're only looking to tackle a single bathroom in their home. It's going to be very difficult or very expensive to get that bathroom done if they want it done in a way that, makes them feel really happy and proud about the space that they've just created. So the reality, though, is that people just don't have time. It's like, it can be a full-time job to say, you know what, I see this photo, I love it, I'm going to reverse engineer it. I'm going to go spend my evenings and weekends on top of everything else that I have going on in my life, looking at tiles, choosing faucets. It's overwhelming. We speak to all these people in showrooms and they say people come in, they have an idea of what they want, and by the time they leave, they were so overwhelmed by all the choices, all the things that they're seeing, and they just ask the person working there, just tell me what I should get. And
or they cut it short and they leave and have to rethink the whole process, which is, one of the things that we mentioned in terms of coming in and dealing with selection fatigue as you're going through that process. One of the things that we do is help alleviate that. And I think also, Amy, you may have been going this way, but the type of clients that are looking for designer direction as opposed to going and reverse engineering it themselves, it's a different type of customer, and there's all types of customers out there. We really cater to and focus on individuals who are going for a very specific look, know what they like when they see it, and just want to look at something, point at it, and say, this is what I want. and don't want to deal with the rest of the process.
But if I, or more likely my wife, saw in a magazine a bathroom that she liked, or at a friend's house and took pictures of that and sent it to you, could you work with them? Would that be something you do, or they have to pick?
We could work with them under our other business.
Under your other business.
You know, like our whole thing is that we're also collaborating with designers, and they love to participate in our offering because they get a chance to design. We're the client essentially,
Right.
but our brief to them is do whatever you want. It just has to be a design that's not hyper customized, because we need to make it work in any possible bathroom configuration and layout possible. And you have to choose from these brands, because these are the brands we've established the proper margins and relationships with. There's a ton of brands. There's no limitation really on the quality of brands they can work with. And they just love to be able to design for the sake of design, which is something that a lot of designers have become distanced from, because they've become these sort of like big operations, and they're creating something for a client, and then the client makes, you know, 100 different design changes or decisions. And this is just, they get to put out their design there, and that's what we're selling and offering. And we're then establishing these relationships with designers, and having all these other designers reach out to us to participate. So it's a really like symbiotic relationship that we have, and that we've really felt grateful to have established early on in the launch of the business.
And every bathroom's a different size. It's not like a standard size bathroom. It could be 10 by 10, it could be 20 by 20, or it could be anything in between. But your bathroom layouts, I call them layouts.
Yeah.
Are they scalable to any size, or
Yep.
how does the customer know what they can do in their size space if they, you know, like the design?
Yeah, so we try to show a good range of renderings for different configurations as well as different bathroom sizes. And then from there, what we do is we collect the customers or the prospective customers' photos of their bathroom, as well as measurements and dimensions. We provide a form which they fill out, or we can work directly with their GC if they've already selected an installer to get those from them. We're trying to make it as easy as possible for the homeowner. So, you know, that's usually our preference if they already have a GC lined up. But, you know, then through conversations with the homeowner, we determine, you know, they might have a really large bathroom right now that has a freestanding tub and a shower. But if they're never planning to use the tub, they don't want the tub, they're insistent that they don't want the tub, we can then figure out how we're going to reconfigure the space, or how we would recommend reconfiguring the space to tie in all these elements and make it work without there being this kind of like giant gap in the space. And that could be through additional storage, or you know, a larger shower, etc. Similarly, someone might have, you know, a bathroom with only a shower, and they say, you know, we have kids, or we plan to have kids, we'd like to have a tub in the shower, an integrated tub and shower. We would then show them what the pairings are for that collection to make that come to life in their space. So we really, like, in the early days of the business, that was the biggest thing, is we don't want to ever be caught in a situation where we're sort of like humming and hawing about how we take this design and make it work in like a really quirky space. And we've pressure tested it, and you know, that comes down again to that initial brief to the designer to make sure that the components that they're sort of suggesting aren't hyper specific to one certain circumstance, whether it's in a, you know, a powder room or a full bathroom.
How about the cost? If I see something on your site, and I want to know, well, what's it going to cost me? I mean, there's a fee for your services, but what I'm more interested in is what's the total price this is going to cost me. Are you able to give them any kind of estimate or cost, what it would cost for the entire?
Yeah,
project?
we can give a range. Our designers were not shackled by any sort of like budgetary restrictions, so we did not tell them to keep it within a certain amount. We gave them general price tiers, and they know the price tiers based on the vendors that we're working with. But there are bathrooms in our collection that, you know, before taxes, just materials only, range from under $10,000 to over $20,000. And then of course, depending on the size of the bathroom and the components within that bathroom. So again, if this is a sprawling primary bathroom with, you know, an enormous vanity for 2 people and a shower and a tub, that's going to cost a lot more than that sort of like baseline under 10 to over 20 range, which is really for a small full-size bathroom.
Now, if somebody wants a particular brand spa whirlpool, or they want a particular type of bidet, or they want some high-end improvements from the plan, can you incorporate those things into your plan? Can they pick these higher end products?
Yeah, absolutely. And we often, for things like toilets, tubs, shower systems, we always offer and talk about and discuss upgrade options. So if you want like a whirlpool style tub instead of just, you know, your standard tub, or if you want a smart toilet or even smart shower technology, we can sort of swap out what's in the current kind of base package for an upgrade option. Same with heated flooring. We can do like integrated LED lighting in their vanities. There's all kinds of upgrade opportunities within the package.
And there's certain things that clients, we know what they're going to ask for. Pretty common ones, like heated floors is a very common upgrade that people will ask for. So we have that ready to go. It's pretty straightforward. But generally speaking, like in terms of all the fixtures, we may have the first round had it designed with the higher end fixture, but we want to have a baseline there, so we're not automatically going with the highest end version, the most expensive version to start. Everything's going to, of course, look beautiful, but we do leave some room for, you know, everyone's personal preferences.
So if somebody wanted particularly, I don't know which toilet manufacturers you deal with, but the ones that I know are Toto, Kohler, and Standard, what American Standard,
Yeah.
I think it's called. Those are the ones that I know. I think are the big ones. I'm not an expert in this field, but can they order any of those toilets from any of those manufacturers, or it's just a particular one that you deal with?
Yeah, so on the plumbing side, we can essentially sell any plumbing brand. So we've not run into issues where there's a desire or a request from a customer for a specific brand that we don't have access to or we're not able to establish a relationship with. So yeah, we haven't run into that issue. We actually have a Toto, an upgrade. Again, it was like a, you know, Kohler standard toilet for the base model, and we're shipping out a Toto smart toilet.
What we would
consider right now.
What we would consider to be standard. It's not.
I just
like
mean it's not a smart toilet.
Baseline, right? It's not the most basic
Right.
Kohler toilet.
Right. And what do you find to be the most common things that consumers are looking for in upgrading their bathrooms? What are they looking when they're looking to upgrade?
Something that visually looks prettier and nicer than what they have right now. Often enhanced storage solutions. And I think just, you know, we talk to a lot of people with, you know, quite compact bathrooms. So they're really just, there's a degree of limitation on, you know, reconfiguring the space, but it is just about how the space can work a little harder for them. So even, you know, things as little as better towel hanging solutions, and, you know, the placement of your shower valve so that you're not reaching into a shower to turn on your shower and getting your arm all wet when you can have the shower handle move to the other side of the wall. So we're having those discussions with homeowners. I think the biggest thing is, you know, they find their bathrooms to be a little bit depressing as is. And storage is a big one that comes up a lot, just maximizing storage as much as possible.
Now, you stated, I think, before that you're working more with contractors, people who are actually doing the installation, and they would come to you and get your designs and install your designs. Does that change the dynamic on how you're working when you're dealing with not the the customer directly, but you're dealing with the contractor. Is that a different process that you go through?
Well, it's interesting because we are still, these contractors that are coming to us, we're still working with their customers. So what they're generally doing is, if they're going to show the design and introduce us, bring us together with the client, so we can work on exactly what they want to achieve. From there, we put together an extremely detailed installation plan, because the contractors really want to know, are the items here, are they on site, and where's it going? Those are probably the two most important pieces of the puzzle for someone that's managing the installation process, for a number of reasons, but most importantly, making sure that the job starts and ends on time. Generally, when you're dealing with delays, it's because something isn't there, or a contractor doesn't have the necessary information to make sure they know exactly where it's going, or maybe they put something in the wrong place and the client's not happy with it. So with all of these details predetermined, it becomes a solution that's great for the end user, the homeowner, great for the contractor, because they're able to manage their process easier. They don't have to spend as much time working through all of these selections or engaging staff in handling any of the procurement process or dealing with, their own logistics. We make sure everything is there when they need it. They know where it's going, and they know exactly where it is on site.
Well, it seems to me there's three parts to a bathroom innovation. There's the design, there's the materials, and the installation.
Yep.
I'm maybe simplifying it, but that seems to be the part. I understand that you do the design. The installation is not done by you; it's done by some contractor. And the materials generally you supply. Is that correctly? You
Correct.
Supply the materials.
Yes.
Now, God bless you. God bless you. Okay. So if you're supplying the materials, what if the contractor doesn't like your materials? Is it an option just to buy your design and let the contractor do his own purchase of materials and installation? Or is the design and materials something that has to come as a package?
Well, first, I don't think as a contractor, I don't think that there's really going to be a type of material that a contractor's not comfortable or doesn't like, especially if you're working with premium materials. It's usually the stuff that's more economical, or economical doesn't mean that it's any less premium, by the way, because there's some really great stuff that's not priced high. But from a quality point of view, I think that we're given that we're working with companies that people know and trust. You can easily get replacements, installation, instructions, directions, whether it's from us, or you can certainly find additional information. They're probably already experienced with installing all these items. So that's not really something that we've encountered. We do make sure that in terms of the design that we've put together, there's certain details in terms of mitering tile and making sure that things are placed in a certain way. That might be something that a contractor may or may not be equipped for. And we'll let them know ahead of time, this is what the design is going to entail. We may also have an alternate installation option if in the event that they want to make some adjustments on their own. Ultimately, as long as the end result is as close to the picture as possible, that's what the goal is at the end of the day.
Now, who's responsible for the fit? Now, I know that you fit it towards the dimensions that you're given, but sometimes it happens that there's a mistake in dimensions. Is that something that's the contractor's responsibility to make sure that the fit is exactly right, or is that something that you actually go and, however you do it, virtually or however you do it, that you're responsible for making sure that the the size of the cabinet and the that everything's going to fit the way it's supposed to fit? Whose responsibility is that?
So I guess there's a couple different parts of it. So it's ultimately the customer's responsibility, whether it's through their installer or on their own, to provide us with correct measurements. This is an online back and forth relationship. We are not physically in their space. If they don't feel comfortable taking the measurements themselves and they do not have a GC lined up, we can make arrangements to have someone locally come to their house to take those measurements. But this kind of goes back to, what I was saying around the brief for the designer, and that, the idea is that, like, we are not a hyper custom wall to wall vanity company, because that's just too hard for us to be doing remotely. So if you're looking for a wall to wall built-in cabinet without spacers or anything like that, we're not the solution for you. If you're looking for hyper custom, we're not the solution for you. But that allows us to be able to sell our offering in a way that reduces the risk on that perfect fit. There's things in conversations we have where we're literally asking the homeowner to send us a video of the door opening and closing so we can see how close it is to the front of the toilet, right? So that we know if their toilet is this deep right now and we're looking at one that is the same depth or a little bit longer, we still have 3 inches of space before it's going to hit that door, which is not being replaced. So there's a lot that we do with the homeowner. If there's any area that we're not even concerned about, but we want to double or triple check on, we get that information from the homeowner and they're happy to provide it, or from their GC.
And to add, there's also, in terms of tile and things that we know need to fit, where that can be trimmed or adjusted. So for example, for a vanity, if the design calls for panels along the sides, we may make those panels a couple of inches longer. That can be trimmed on site by the contractor, by the installer. If they're a half an inch too short, you can't use them. If they're a little bit too long, you can trim them. You're great. So, and I think that a lot of that comes from, from the experience of working within the industry and having dealt with a lot of this stuff firsthand. That one of and this goes back to what we had mentioned about making sure that everything is where it needs to be and making sure that the job can move forward. So we're mitigating risk for measurements and overages and things of that nature to make sure that the contractor has everything they need and then some. So for tile, for example, if the general rule of thumb by industry standard is to order 10% extra, we might order 15 or 20%. And sure, someone's going to pay a little bit more up front, but if your project's delayed 3 weeks because you're waiting on something, you're, at the end of the day, like, that a little bit extra, that small amount that you're paying up front to ensure that everything is going to go the way that you expect smoothly is totally worth it. And no one's ever come back to us and said, I paid a little bit more for tile, or I'm upset that I have some left over. It's also really good to retain
some extra tile,
any additional tile, because you never know what can happen down the road. If you have a specific color tile, even if especially if it's mass produced, actually, the tile run from 1 year to the next, or even one lot to the next within the same year or month, can be slightly different, and it becomes a challenge to match those if you've done some emergency work or something like that.
I know in my garage I have paint cans and tiles that were left over from paint jobs of tiles that I say to my wife, why are we keeping this? How many years do you keep
and
this?
you'll get rid of it and then you'll need it.
And then I'll need it. But I said, but when am I ever going to need it? I mean, if we do it, it's not. We're going to crack a tile and it's going to replace a tile, maybe.
But usually with things like tile, if you have, let's say, 10 square feet left over, right? Then the truth of the matter is that you might occasionally need an extra tile or two. And that may make the world of difference. That might save you from having to redo your bathroom again, because now you have a tile that's completely off. And it's going to be in the space that you're going to notice. It's going to be in a space of prominence. It's never going to be a space where it's going to be hidden, right? So where you need it is going to be something that can cause you to just say, I can't take it anymore.
Right. So can you give me an idea of the cost of your service? I know the materials are going to vary depending on what they pick for the kitchen, but is there a cost that or a range of a cost for your services doing the design work or giving them the design?
So there's no design fee per se. We put on a 10% service fee on top of the cost of the materials. And then we have a warehousing and handling fee that includes our white glove delivery into the home, bringing everything in a single delivery when the contractor wants it in the home, in collaboration, obviously, with the homeowner when they've discussed. But we take care of all that, and that gets added on as a separate fee. So that's based on the homeowner's location. If they're an apartment building in the city and there's a lot of restraints around how to get in there, or it's a 6-story walk up, all those things impact what that price is going to be. But again, it's a game changer, not only for the homeowner, for the contractor as well, to just know that everything can arrive on site in a single drop off, right when really, like, ideally it's the bathroom's been gutted, the next day delivery is scheduled, it's brought into the home, and everything gets put into the space.
And are there recommendations you would make to someone redoing a bathroom that they should do or shouldn't do in their making their determination as to what to do? Are there things that you recommend doing or not doing?
Absolutely.
Okay, can you elaborate?
Yeah, I mean, just generally for people looking to do a renovation, I think really truly thinking about what is wrong with the space you have now, because very rarely is it that, like, my toilet and my shower are broken and not working. This is not this is somewhat of a luxury, right? To redesign or recreate your bathroom space. I think it's really important for you to think about your life, the longevity of your time in the home that you're in. Is this what you anticipate to be a forever home? Is this a starter home? Are you planning to have kids? Do you have young kids? All of these things need to be, these kind of like lifestyle components need to be factored into how you're going to use the space. I'm a certified aging in place specialist. So I took a course on really thinking about not just the design and the sort of form of a bathroom, but that functionality and safety of a bathroom as well. So I think really thinking about trends and what you see in magazines, but then taking a step back and thinking about how those can really be applied to your own life. And, does it make sense right now, or does it maybe not make most sense? Can I take little bits from this or not? I think what's really interesting is coming out of COVID, there are so many first-time homeowners and so many first-time renovators. And what we've learned a lot in the last few years is just people don't even know where to begin when it comes to renovation. Am I the one who's supposed to come to the table with design? Am I, as the homeowner, supposed to, have everything ready to go? Do I contact a designer? Do I contact a GC? Do I contact a subcontractor?
An architect.
Where do I even get my information from? What Facebook group do I have to go look in? I don't even know this person who's recommending this person, but I don't really know other people in town. It's just really interesting now how people are gathering information and going about their journey. And what we've realized is that as a business that is new to, as a concept that's new to the space, that people aren't necessarily searching for online because they don't know it exists, what we're realizing is that there's no like straight path to get from I need a new bathroom to I have a new bathroom. There's so many different ways that people are going to get there, and it can be really overwhelming. So, for us, we just love having conversations with people, whether they end up purchasing a bathroom from us or not, because we get to learn about those early sort of initial thoughts and decisions that people are making to kind of decide and determine if they're going to move forward with a bathroom renovation or not.
And also, as it relates to suggestions, people ask for our advice all the time, depending upon how long they've been thinking about doing a bathroom or planning for a bathroom. In some cases, it's been many, many years where someone really was very focused on a certain type of sink, which may not be in style anymore, or we may have encountered it and a project working with it, and we said, look, this is a huge mistake. It's extremely impractical, and we have a big focus on practicality too, making sure that whatever's being installed is going to be useful for the homeowner too. A lot of people like shiny things, but those shiny things really aren't the most practical at the end of the day. And what's interesting is, in things that clients ask for, I think that from like a smart toilet, which is more like Japanese style toilet, which is more of a bidet, it's pretty interesting because especially as men get to a certain age, a lot of men will ask for that instead of women. And it's really interesting. We found that for stuff like that, if someone's either had it or been thinking about it, there are certain components that once someone is set on, they'll tell us they want it, and they won't ask for advice. They'll say, I want it, I need it, that's it. It just has to be some sort of a derivative of this type of thing, and we're happy to use it in our space.
I love my heated toilet seat.
Yeah.
There you go.
It lifts up when I go near it. It says hello, and it lifts up, and
Right.
it's already for me. It's become a good friend. As you become older, your needs change, and
They do.
I can certainly. So let's talk about a lot of people do a bathroom because it'll increase the value of their home.
Yep.
I think after kitchens, it's probably the improvement that they can see the best return on investment.
Yeah,
For sure.
That they do. Do you advise people as to what type of things to do to the bathroom to make it an increase in value more? In other words, you wouldn't want a bathroom that's all purple because it probably would not be something that most people would want. Is that come into your evaluation of what someone should do, or your recommendation to someone as to the resale value or how it would increase the value of the home?
Yeah. So look, we have designs from designers right now that go everywhere from sort of like a safe contemporary look to quite bold and out there. And I think that, yes, the house is a financial asset and people are hyper concerned about resale value and, how do the decisions I make today impact, the sale of a space going forward. Aaron can tell you he has done enough stunning kitchen remodels, and the kitchens were stunning before. The reality is that someone moves into a place, they have different taste, they want to change it. And I believe that we can't be like super tied up with this idea of who is the next owner going to be and are they going to like what I did. So I'm going to scale back my own likes to appease or appeal to someone down the road who's going to live in my home. So I think there's certainly like functional things as we think about, tearing out the only tub that exists in a house. Well, it's likely that your house is going to sell to a young family down the road and they're going to need a tub. And now that's just going to be an additional cost they're going to have to consider when making the decision of whether they're going to purchase your home or not. But at the end of the day, like if you're planning to live there or you don't want a tub in there, it's your home. You do what you want to do. You've paid enough money to live in there, and it's important that you have a space that works for you and functions for you.
That's right. And it's something I think that is pretty important based on what someone's goals are. Have they just purchased the home and they're really focusing on it for themselves? Have they been living there for some time and now they're preparing to sell their space? We get called in by realtors also that will say, hey, can you make a few suggestions? We want people to be able to envision what the space could look like. And we may say, hey, sure, we'll render it out for your showing or for your open house for realtors that we have a relationship with locally. and we'll give an idea of the cost for that specific bathroom. So it's one less thing for prospective buyers to think of. And of course, there's a lot of other designs that they can go with, but it boils down to, you know, the long-term goal for someone and what they're doing with the space.
Okay. Well, if someone wants to reach you and interested in your services, where should they reach you? What's the best way to reach you?
They can connect with us through our website, www.unoriginalbathroom.com. We're also on Instagram, Facebook at Unoriginal Bathroom, and they can connect directly with me, Amy, AMY, at unoriginalbathroom.com, or Aaron, AARON, at unoriginalbathroom.com.
Well, I want to thank you for your time and for being on the podcast. I think a lot of people will find it interesting. And I think doing a bathroom is something that I've done several times, and it's certainly the right bathroom is a place of great enjoyment to me and many others. So I want to thank you for being on the Mark, and speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of On the Mark. I started this podcast by quoting John F. Kennedy and would like to end it with quoting one of my favorite baseball players, Nolan Ryan. Enjoying success requires the ability to adapt. Only by being open to change will you have a true opportunity to get the most from your talent. I wish you success in staying ahead of the curve instead of behind the 8 ball. Thank you for tuning in.